From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
This is a WUFT News Update. I'm Colombo.
And I'm Naim. Thanks for joining us. An FDA advisory panel now recommends Pfizer's lower dose COVID vaccine be approved for children aged 5 to 11. If other authorities agree, the vaccine could begin to be administered to kids in early November. NBC's Alice Barr looks at the issue discussed today.
A highly anticipated decision today as an FDA advisory panel weighs whether to recommend the Pfizer COVID vaccine for children as young as 5. The Pfizer data under review shows its child-sized doses are more than 90% effective at preventing symptomatic infection in 5 to 11-year-olds.
The data that they're going to be presented in pour-over is going to show that it is extremely safe.
One focal point, mild inflammation of the heart that appeared in some older teens and young adults post-vaccine. There were no documented cases in the study of 5 to 11-year-olds, and doctors say the risk is higher from getting COVID.
It actually causes myocarditis at far higher rates than what we see with vaccination.
Many parents are eager to sign their kids up for the shots.
I'm very hopeful that they will approve that. I think anything to keep our kids safer.
But a recent poll shows they may be in the minority, with only 30% of parents planning to get their children vaccinated right away.
I think, honestly, a solid year of testing and people, really working out the kinks in it will do us better.
That's worrying for many doctors who say vaccinating elementary-age kids will be key in getting the pandemic under control.
Not only can they get sick, but they can also spread it to others, and that's the big concern.
Though pediatric COVID deaths are rare, more than 700 children have died from the virus since the pandemic began. The CDC weighs in next week before a final decision that could allow shots in arms by early November. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Changes to the National Suicide Hotline affect local area code dialing. The FCC now mandates residents of the 352 area code call each other using 10-digit dialing. This is being done so the National Suicide Hotline number can be reduced to a 3-digit code. People will be able to call 988 to connect with a mental health counselor.
It's also more comforting to know that this is at this person's fingertips. You know, if I'm worried about somebody and I want to give them this option, it's a lot easier to pass around. It's a lot easier to know that it's likely to be used.
Although 10-digit dialing started earlier this week, the new hotline will be implemented in July.
Every 10 years, the U.S. completes its national census, and with it, redistricting processes begin around the country. WUFT's Macie Goldfarb takes a look at how Gainesville is tackling the work on its 4 single-member commission districts.
Every 10 years, local governments head back to the drawing board to reconfigure borderlines for election districts. Now, in Gainesville, any resident can get involved. The City of Gainesville hosted an informational webinar explaining this community-wide effort. Senior Assistant City Attorney Sean McDermott, along with District Builder creator and UF professor Dr. Michael McDonald, discussed how residents can play an active role in the districting process.
This will be the first time where we have this software available where any member of the public can draw their community, draw an entire redistricting plan for the 4 city commission districts, and submit that for consideration.
The tool, districtbuilder.org, is relatively simple to use. Residents can view the demographics of each precinct and group those precincts based on their ideal districts.
We welcome innovative ideas. We want people to express their communities, and if these districts are not functioning well in some people's eyes, we want to know that.
The maps have to meet 2 requirements: population equality and compliance with the Voting Rights Act, which prohibits voting discrimination based on identity. The population equality requirement warrants no more than 10% deviation from perfectly equal representation within Gainesville's 4 election districts.
We definitely want to make sure that the adjustments of the boundary lines of the city's 4 districts accurately represent its population.
McDonald and McDermott will submit their pre-recommended maps to the City Commission by January 2022. The deadline for residents to submit is late April, although it's recommended to submit by January. Macie Goldfarb, WUFT News.
New districts will be approved in the spring for use in the August city election and afterward.
Governor Ron DeSantis plans to award $5,000 bonuses to out-of-state police officers who relocate to Florida. The announcement comes in response to states demanding officers be vaccinated against COVID-19. DeSantis says he is willing to sign legislation to offer the bonus to officers who would move to Florida and work under no vaccine mandates. The governor says no one should lose their job for not receiving an injection. Maya, we're in the last days of October, and I'm still wondering if it will cool down more.
I'm hoping for this Halloween weekend to really feel like fall. But for the outlook, let's turn to Zoey Robinson in the Weather Center.
Yes, a gentle cool down is on the way closer towards Halloween. Right now, though, we're seeing gorgeous conditions. Clear skies, barely any clouds. Temperatures sitting in the low 80s across campus right now. We had a cold front pass through yesterday. You can see almost all of this dry air. Notice in between here and Cuba, that's where that cold front that passed through is now sitting in. Behind it, gorgeous conditions, dry weather, and dew points in the low to mid 50s right now. So it is still warm, temperatures sitting in the low 80s in some parts of north central Florida, but it's not feeling soupy or muggy outside with those dew points in the low 50s right now. Temperatures will slowly cool as always as we head closer to sundown, and they'll bottom out in about the mid 50s for tonight. About 55 in Gainesville, 52 in Stark as well as Lake City, 56 in Ocala as well as the Villages. Tomorrow we're in for another gorgeous day. Temperatures slowly rising to the upper 70s and possibly the low 80s in some areas. Lots of sunshine in between passing clouds and then slowly cooling off once again as we head towards the evening. Thursday, though, is our big weather story for this week. We'll be watching closely as a low pressure system begins to track across the southeast, triggering up widespread showers and thunderstorms all throughout the day on Thursday. Beginning Thursday morning, the Panhandle seeing the largest swath of rain possible as this warm front continues to push across the area. Midday on Thursday is when we'll almost be trapped in this triangle shape, and with that is when we'll see the most widespread rain activity on Thursday, mainly during the afternoon. And then continuing all the way west to east, that cold front tracking through, could still even see a few lines of showers and thunderstorms as we head through dinner time. Because of all of this activity, the SPC issuing marginal and slight risks all throughout the day on Thursday. During the morning, the Panhandle, we're in a marginal risk for damaging winds and isolated tornadoes. Then as we track towards the daytime, anywhere from Lake City all the way down through Sarasota is in a slight risk for severe weather, and then closer towards Orlando and southward is in a marginal risk. So, recap, we have plenty of sunshine planned for tomorrow, but on Thursday is when we have the chance for severe storms, and with that, damaging winds and isolated tornadoes are our greatest threats all throughout the day. But after that cold front officially passes, we'll have a big cool down just in time for Halloween trick-or-treating. Notice as that cold front passes through on Thursday and into Friday, that's when we'll see the strongest storms available. But then on the backside into the weekend, just in time for Halloween, gorgeous temperatures, lots of sunshine, perfect for trick-or-treating. Now to Tori with sports.
Thanks for that weather update, Zoe. It's that time of the year, Florida-Georgia week. The Gators will take their annual trip to Jacksonville this Saturday to face the #1 ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Florida already has 3 losses this season, all at the hands of SEC opponents. Georgia is entering the matchup undefeated. The Bulldog defense has been exceptional this season, allowing only 46 points total in 7 games. The Gators just gave up 49 to LSU. Gator defensive lineman Zach Carter talks about how the team will be approaching the rest of the season.
We still playing for a lot. I mean, just the Gator standard in general, and you know, it's bigger than this year. I mean, I wanna help, you know, finish off strong so those guys next year could start off strong.
Saturday's kickoff is set for 3:30 on CBS. We have a local high school volleyball matchup lined up tonight. In the Class 4A regional quarterfinals, the #1 seeded Santa Fe Raiders host the #8 seed Pensacola. There was going to be a Class 2A tournament game tonight, but Countryside had to forfeit due to COVID protocols. Moving on to Major League Baseball, the World Series is finally here. The Atlanta Braves and Houston Astros will meet tonight at Minute Maid Park for Game 1 of the Fall Classic. Atlanta bested the reigning champion Dodgers to avenge their loss in last year's NL Championship Series. The Braves are making their first appearance in the World Series since 1999. For Houston, it's the third time in 5 years. In Game 1, Atlanta's Charlie Morton will start against the Astros' Framber Valdez. First pitch is set for just after 8 p.m. on Fox. The Tampa Bay Lightning take the ice tonight looking for revenge against the Pittsburgh Penguins. In the season opener, Pittsburgh came out on top with a 6-2 win. After a tough 5-1 loss to the Buffalo Sabres Monday night, the Lightning looked to improve on a slow 2-3-1 start. The Sabres scored 3 goals in the third period to throttle Tampa Bay. Alex Killorn had a goal for the Lightning, and Brian Elliott stopped 20 shots in his debut with the Bolts. And that's your look at sports. Now back to the desk.
Thanks for catching up with us on Facebook. Our TV news operations are limited this month as we train with new technology.
But we'll be back on Facebook often and will eventually return to TV Channel 5. In the meantime, your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org.